They say what you focus on grows, and especially in business, this could not be more true. So this week, I'm breaking down the 6 things that I track in my business every single month to make sure that we are hitting our goals and the things that are really, really important for me to measure. I see business owners really overwhelmed by all of the data that their business provides that they have absolutely no idea where to start when it comes to tracking and measuring and what to look for, what's important, what's not so important. And while I'll say there's totally not one size fits all, because I think it really depends on what your goals are, what your business model looks like, what kind of team you have in place to support you in tracking and analyzing all of the moving pieces. But I do think these 6 specific things are pretty baseline and we should all have a close eye on them. The first thing is banked sales. What are banked sales? Sales that are coming through the bank. So if I'm saying, hey, I just had a $35,000 cash month, it is income that's already contracted, that's already coming through, that's already hit my bank account. Knowing your banked sales is huge because you're gonna wanna know what kind of cash you have on hand. And especially if you're tracking your sales goal from month to month, this is the thing that you are going to want to look at to make sure that you are hitting those monthly targets. So for example, if I'm going into a month and let's say my goal, for example, is $50,000 and it is already a $40,000 month because there's $40K in banked sales coming in already, then I know, okay, I have to do at least $10,000 more to hit my goal for the month. Which leads me to the next thing I track, which is booked sales. Booked sales are sales that are booked to come in. And so if you have payment plans coming through or reoccurring clients, reoccurring payments, those are booked sales that are continuing to come in. And so for example, if today I have a program, let's say it's $5,000, and I sell 3 people in the program and they're all on payment plans. In banked sales, it will be whatever their first payment is. But in booked sales, it will be what their remaining balance is. So if one person is paying $1,000 for 5 months to equal $5,000 and they pay $1,000, you have $1,000 in banked sales, you have $4,000 now coming through in booked sales. So banked versus booked sales helps you know what you have on hand and what's contracted to come through. So you might see people talking about their income and they say, oh my gosh, it was a 10K sales day. That means that they made in total $10,000 worth of sales that are continuing to come in versus someone saying it's been a $10,000 cash day. That's banked cash in hand. The third thing I look at, one of my favorite things to track, is your monthly reoccurring revenue. MRR is the goal. You want to make sure that you have monthly reoccurring revenue coming into the business because that's truly how you build sustainability. So for example, literally going into 2022, so for the next 6+ months, I know that I already have at least a minimum of $20,000 coming in every single month in monthly reoccurring revenue. And it becomes very easy to quantum leap your revenue and go from a 20K month to a 60K month or a 60K month to a 90K month when you have this consistent, predictable, stable, monthly reoccurring revenue coming through. It is absolutely critical that we're all tracking this, honestly. The fourth thing is your profit margin, okay? Your business needs to be profitable for it to work for you. That means after all of your expenses that you're paying for your business to operate and paying yourself, you have money left over. Now, a really healthy profit margin is at least 40%. My goal when it comes to profit is between 40 and 60%, and it really will depend on your season of business. And so there were earlier seasons in business for me where I was investing in copywriters and I was having my brand done and I needed to have my website built and I needed to initially invest in contracts and all of the legal things to get my business in place. my profit margins were absolutely not 40% because I was investing in long-term assets that I knew I needed in place for my business to scale. And this is something that totally fluctuates. And so if it's a month where I'm investing in a photo shoot, or I'm onboarding a new team member, or there's just another unexpected expense coming up, I hire a new coach, or I was on a payment plan and it drops off, your profits will ebb and flow. But I think it's important to measure that and to have a goal around it so you know how to tell if your business is healthy or not. The fifth thing I measure. And look, not everyone measures this, but for me, it's a non-negotiable. I track how much I work. I don't like to be on calls all the time. I don't like to be working long days. So every month I gauge how many hours was I on calls this month. Did I feel like I had a really super jam-packed schedule, or did I feel like there was a lot of space? If I felt like I went through the month and it was just really tight and really crammed, I will make sure that I reevaluate that when I'm making my calendar for the following month, because one of my core values in my business is spaciousness. I love having space. I love light work days. I love calls that are a little bit more scattered rather than back to back to back. And so that's something that I look at and I look for and I measure month to month. And the final thing we're going to talk about in this video, this is something that I have all of my clients measure. It's on the profitable partnership wealth scale, because I think it's really, really important to keep a tab on this, as well as all of the financial stuff and the marketing stuff, is your fulfillment level. Because you could be making all the money in the world, have an 80% profit margin, and be fucking miserable. And that's not the vibe. And so I really like to gauge, like, was I happy? Did I feel really fulfilled? Was I very energized operating my business from this place this past month? And if I'm feeling sluggish or uninspired, or like it's just not working for me, I can take a step back to look at the bigger picture to say, what needs to shift in my business model, in my schedule, in the way that I'm running my programs, my client calls? What needs to shift for me to feel better about running my business? Because the money never outweighs misery. And you can have both. We can all have both. That's the great news. You can make a shit ton of money and be fulfilled as fuck. But I think it's a really important thing to watch that and make sure those two things are lining up. So hopefully this gave you a good base of what to watch in your business month to month to make sure it grows. And like I said, this will vary. You know, if we're running ads, we're gonna measure how many leads are coming in the door. If we're running ads, we're gonna measure the ROI or the tripwire sales or things like that. So it will vary, but I always come back to these 6 things. All right, guys, let me know, comment below, DM me on Instagram. Let me know what you thought of this video. Let me know what you measure in your business, and I will see you next week. Bye.